that move out into more of those. Oh, here we go. Here's the last update. More into those areas that are more forested, but again, there are houses out here, so it's important to take a look at where this storm is. So Range Road experiencing some gusty wind now. This is day, and that again, that North County Road 53 I was talking about into Mayo Junction. Here's the area of concern here. We really need to watch ahead of the storm. I don't want to see where the storm is now. I want to know, where it's going, and those areas across parts of is now still in Taylor County are still in the path of that potential rotation. We also have, a couple of areas down here. There's Buckville area that looks a little bit more concerning as well. So we still have a little bit of rotation possible near Townsend. That's into Buckville as well. So that's why I just want to give you kind of a broad overview within this tornado warned area of where some of this potential spin could be occurring. So in places like Chansey, you don't see tight rotation there, but you still need to take that very seriously because, again, this line right here, it looks like there's a few trouble spots as we're kind of heading down that line within that tornado warned area. I do want to move out and kind of look at velocity here. So it looks like, some of those areas near Day, Buckville, Chansey are probably getting some very gusty wind right now. Some of that outflowing wind, it could be closer to that 60 plus mile per hour range. So that's what we're going to be really just that straight line wind, just as dangerous as some of that tornadic activity that is potential within this tornado warned area. The storm is moving to the northeast, again, kind of splitting the difference between Buckville there and Chansey. And that's where we're going to find more of that spin signature through just the west of that major roadway. So as this storm kind of moves into parts of northern Lafayette County, we'll see that as it pushes over into Lafayette County over the next, say, 5-10 minutes. We're going to keep an eye on it until this either expires or moves out. But you can see these updates. The system is moving very quickly, and we've had this line move through at a pretty high rate up until it started slowing down across Tallahassee and then into Madison County. Well, now we're starting to see a little bit more speed with it, a little bit more outflow of wind, and that's where the potential of some higher level wind, some lower level wind. It's going to be 60 plus mile per hour gusts potentially out of the line of the storm. So this is where that severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for a lot of these areas, but this is where that tornado warning is also in effect. So again, I just want to zoom out here and just kind of show everybody what we're talking about. This is Taylor County. Now we are into Lafayette County, so parts of Lafayette County under that tornado warning now. So that's where, again, Day, Chansey, Buckville are that northern tip of Lafayette County. So there, I can barely see the county outlines there. It's more important to know the names of the towns at least. So we're still seeing a little bit more of that rotation through those areas. Again, high wind, even if no rotation is found, that wind gust is still just as dangerous. 60 mile per hour straight line winds can do, widespread damage, whereas where we see tornadic activity, yes, that is damaging through a small area, but anywhere within this wind is going to be potentially damaging for us early as we head into that 7:45 hour when this expires or before it's canceled. So a lot of our areas still seeing some broad rotation there. And keep in mind, a lot of these areas are going to continue with that broad rotation for these major cells that are going to start growing very quickly. We do have broad rotation in those big storms, but here's that area kind of near Buckville. It looks a little bit more concerning. And then over into Day, this is all Lafayette County. This is the northern Lafayette County line. Here's 27 kind of running through Lafayette County for a short amount of time, Buckville and then to Peterson. But kind of that crossroads right at Buckville there of this county road, I think it was 53, got County Road 53. That's where we're going to be watching for this storm activity to continue pushing through. So again, kind of going over some of those roadways. Dell, you're also in the path of this storm, so please take shelter now. This storm is moving very quickly. We're just seeing these scans kind of come up and be updated over the last couple of minutes here. Northwest County Road 290, Mayo Junction is in the path of this storm as well, about to push over parts of that County Road 53 as well into parts of, this is northern Lafayette County now, as storm is entered into. This is along a line of showers and storms that historically has been producing as it's moved into southeast sides of the Big Bend. So gusty wind and some heavy rain as well. A lot of our areas still under some of those flash flood warnings. I just wanted to isolate this tornado warning for you to kind of show you what's going on this morning. So here's that County Road 251. We also have, it's kind of following the line of Northwest County Road 280. A lot of these will be county roads. And today we have Northwest County Road 270 as well. There's Mayo Junction, Northwest County Road 260, and then also Northwest County Road 251 into Chansey. So all those areas are under this tornado warned area. Put my hand down there so it doesn't confuse the tracker. So all these areas are in this tornado warned area, and we're going to still see this system kind of move closer to the edge of this tornado warned area here. We'll continue to see if that's going to be extended or not, but I do want to just show you again this velocity, these very high returns on velocity, is a good indicator that no matter what, whether there's spin or not, it is going to be a high wind event. There is a lot of wind associated with this. And just keep in mind here, this Buckville Dell Day area, this is what we're looking at. And if you look at radar, I mean, this is right ahead of that storm system. So right there through Chansey, Day, and Buckville, those are all going to be areas where we're on Vidas, so there we go. Those are all going to be areas that are going to get quite a bit of wind very quickly. So this is kind of the area of concern here where that storm continues pushing in. We have some broad rotation here. I mean, obviously, that storm system is going to continue pushing through into parts of closer to the 51 corridor. So even if the tornado warning is not ongoing or is not continued, please keep in mind, you know, that severe thunderstorm warning that's issued for the area is just to be taken as seriously. So if you are in those parts of southeast Big Bend this morning, which does include parts of Madison County, Lafayette County, and that's Taylor County over there. Most of Taylor County has seen a lot of that exit off to the at least northeast into parts of Suwannee County. But even into Suwannee County, I mean, high wind gusts already ahead of that storm. Again, here's what it looks like on radar. So here's Live Oak. We're still getting heavy wind there, strong wind there, excuse me, with 60 plus mile per hour winds. So I just heard the printer go off there. I'm wondering if that's going to be a tornado extension or if it's going to be another severe thunderstorm warning. It's a tornado extension. Okay, so we are going to look at closer to that edge where we were just talking about moving through Chansey and Day right now. Let's look at the velocity scan here again. So here is the area where that radar is showing, here's Lancaster, Day, Chansey, kind of where this rain is wrapping around, moving onto the east, and we're still going to see, some spin with that system. So moving through those areas, that's where we're going to continue that tornado warning through. So here is Lauraville, Mercer, Dickert, Rexford, Live Oak, Houston as well, and a lot of these areas in the path, Live Oak including, in the path of the storm, where we're still going to have that tornado warning now extended to parts of our area. So I do want to go back to kind of where we're expecting this storm to kind of push through. So if we go kind of in here, the Chansey, Day, Buckville area, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at some of that rotation along this area where a lot of spin has been detected within that atmosphere. There's a couple of trouble spots earlier, and we're expecting, a bit more of that spin through the atmosphere as the storm continues to progress east. This is where that storm is now. So we have Chansey, Day, and then kind of into a Mercer as well. So any kind of tornadic activity is going to be rain wrapped. So there's not going to be a lot of chance for you to go out and view any kind of thing. So please take shelter. Don't try to go out and get a video. If there is a tornado, you won't be able to see it because there is heavy rain wrapping around the center of that spin signature. So it's not going to be the time to try to go out and get your first tornado shot by any means. We're still going to look at this line ahead of that tornadic probability of that gusty wind. I mean, even in Live Oak right now, you're probably feeling that wind gust already pick up. And again, that storm is moving at a northeast motion as the storm system pushes to the east. So that line of storms is still going to push up to the northeast there. Again, if you're just joining us, maybe you just got the alert on your phone and you live in a Live Oak, a tornado warning has been issued for your area. Please take shelter now. This does include parts of Suwannee County. And, going into this, we knew that line of storms was going to produce some gusty wind and potentially some heavy rain, which it did. Those two did pan out across central parts of the Big Bend. But as we saw the morning progress, we did see a little bit more of that signature for the atmosphere, at least before the storm line got here, the potential for some gusty wind, some high upper level wind, some of that mixing down to surface level at between that storm activity. So with storm activity up to 60 miles per hour. And then there was enough kind of rotation in the atmosphere to have some concerns for tornadic activity. And we've gotten our first tornado warning now extended as well into parts of that, looks like I-10 corridor into 75. So here is Live Oak. There's I-10 that goes right through Ellaville over to Rixford, and then Live Oak is just to the south of that into 90 corridor. There's 51 as well going to be affected by this. So Mercer, you're feeling the wind and going to see more of that that rain pickup here in just a few minutes from now. Star as well. There's that 51 corridor. Lancaster, that rain is already occurring for you. We're already going to see some heavy wind, or some strong wind, excuse me, out of this storm, kind of moving to the east to 51 closer to Mercer. Kind of checking our velocity scan here, just looking at a couple of different areas of rotation that could be occurring for a lot of different spots across places into Suwannee County now as that storm jumps over the Lafayette line into Suwannee County. But yeah, this is going to be one of those things where, again, looking ahead, let's go ahead and see what kind of roads need to take precaution now. Besides 51, let's go ahead and go along this 51 State Road 51 line. So that's a lot of these 174th Street all the way up to 177th Street, and then over into just north of that State Road 51 going north into Star. That's 161 or 161st Street, excuse me, and the 147th Road. A lot of numbers with that main road into Live Oak. That's 2nd Street Avenue, and then this is going to be Slade, 84th Street, County Road 131. So a lot of roads leading into Live Oak that stretch out and are in the line of this storm's path. So if you live anywhere within these areas like Newbern, Mercer, Star, Live Oak, obviously, please take cover now. That storm system is heading our way. As a matter of fact, if we kind of look here, you can kind of see some of those higher returns now popping up around. Let's see, there's Dowling Park, and then there's a little higher return right there at 217th Road, 209th Place. You see those pinks there. That's probably a little bit of hail falling from the sky as well. So we've got some hail, a small hail core or two possible. That's just north of Lancaster into eventually Star, and then Mercer as well. So if we go here to our, if we go here, let's go to Tallahassee and then go over to, here we go. It's not going to show up for me today. There we go. Just took a little bit of extra. So it's not showing any hail right now, but I bet there is a little bit of hail with that system that's still pushing through. So have to go over to Tallahassee radar to look at some of these storm threats, but it does not show any kind of significant hail. That's the good news there. I don't think that any kind of large hail is going to be falling out of any of these storms really today at all, but obviously heavy rain, small hail possible, and then that wind is going to be the biggest factor. And of course, that potential for spin is why this tornado warning was issued. So a couple of troublesome spots here, especially down to the south. This is going to be Dell, a couple of those areas near Lauraville. That's that 51 corridor we were just talking about. That's where you need to take cover now. If you're out ahead of the storm, make sure, some of the safest places for a tornado warning is going to be the lowest place in the house. I know a lot of Florida doesn't have basements, so the bottom floor as far down as you can get. And then, of course, those rooms that don't have exterior walls are best, and at least no windows. Those windowless rooms are going to be the safest. So that's where you want to go ahead and take shelter now if you live in some of these areas. Again, it's looking like a couple of areas of concern right there through just to the north of Lauraville over 51, and that's going to be kind of pushing to the east as well. And again, this is kind of right on the leading edge of some of that storm system that's been pushing through over the last couple of hours now, and just been dumping rain, heavy rain. Again, this area is going to be a little bit more prone to those velocity signatures, those couplets that are a little tighter. So that's going to be important to keep in mind as this line of storms continues pushing through. I definitely would say there's going to be a threat of stronger wind and even some tornadic activity within this line as it continues to push out of our area, and obviously enough of one now to prompt some of those tornado warnings across places into now Suwannee County. So that does include I-10. Again, along this line, there's a couple of areas of concern here, and that's going to be up to up to the 75 corridor as well. So if I get rid of this here, there we go. I am going to go check the latest reports from the National Weather Service to give you an update, and then maybe put up the Live Oak camera for you just to kind of see what's happening as this storm approaches. But again, here's that area where it's torn away. So we're looking at the Valdosta radar now. And so there is enough of those areas that are tight enough for concern for a tornado warning to be issued for parts now into Suwannee County. So there's Lauraville, that 51 corridor into Live Oak, and that does include parts of I-10. So I'm going to leave it here for just a second and go grab this, take a sip of water. It's been a busy morning here across the Big Bend in South Georgia with all these flood warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, and now this tornado warning. Okay, so a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Dowling Park, or 10 miles northwest of Mayo, northeast at 45 miles per hour. So that's into Suwannee County we were just showing you there. So, I mean, those are the areas that need to take cover now, as you know, a lot of those areas that I was just describing are going to be, there's Mayo right here. So northwest of Mayo, kind of in this area right here, you can see this wind signature kind of jutting out there. You know, no matter what, it's going to be a high wind problem here. So you can see that wind kind of really jutting out there across Lauraville, or just to the north of Lauraville, Mercer. I mean, all the way up to Live Oak, that I-10 corridor there. That's going to still be some high wind as well. You don't want to be out during this event anyway, because that wind could get pretty gusty ahead of the storm as that line moves through. So you can see those outflow winds there, but also along this line here. Not only is that storm system kind of bowing, as we call it, or kind of jutting out like a bow, but it also is producing enough spin. So the bowing tells me there is definitely a lot of wind with this storm. And then, of course, the velocity scans here are also telling me that there's a potential for rotation, and especially along that line that starts kind of bowing out there. That's where we're biggest concern with some of that rotation is going to occur. So if we go down here, I just want to kind of go over some of those roads again. There's Lauraville, there's 51 now approaching that 51 corridor. Not much of a concern. Oh, there's the latest update there. So here, just for reference, is Live Oak right here. There's 51, and then there's concern for that signature spin right there, kind of pushing over 51 now, closer to that 129 line. So 129 padlock, all in the path of the storm as well. And here's Houston over there to the east as well. So all those areas, please take cover now. That storm system is moving to the northeast, so you are in the path of that storm there. We kind of look a little bit closer here to that area of spin. So this is going to be a northeast moving storm at 45 miles per hour. So kind of, I mean, almost jumping over 51 now, and then quite potentially riding south of that 51 line up into places closer to Padlock, Houston, kind of splitting the difference between Live Oak and Houston and Padlock as well. And then there's that I-10 corridor. Here's Ricksford, and then there's that I-10 corridor right there over into the eastern side of Suwannee County. So I'm going to go pop up that Live Oak camera now as we watch for the latest scan here from our radar come up from Valdosta. Let's kind of see what's going on, at least in Live Oak. So let's see, here's the Live Oak cam. It's got an update here. There, thank you, Dennis. So Dennis is putting it up here. This is the Suwannee County Airport, excuse me. So Suwannee County Airport, it's a little bit delayed, but if you watch in the background, I mean, those trees are really moving right now. The rain is not quite to the airport just yet, but you can see the wind's already picking up. That's a good sign of that, that bowing of the storm I was just talking about. See some lightning flashes in the background there, a lot of lightning associated with this. And those trees are blowing pretty heavily. So there's obviously a lot of strong wind with this. The storm is just going to be to our southwest right now, but if you are in this area, you definitely want to be taking cover now as that storm approaches. So I'm going to see here. So it's going to be on the the airport is on the western side of Live Oak. So it's going to be kind of splitting the difference between the Suwannee County Airport and then over toward eventually Lake City and that 129 line, but it kind of going over that 51 line now. So that does, it looks like there's a couple of churches in the area, a stable, I mean, a couple of homes as well. I mean, obviously, especially as you get into Live Oak, you can see those homes really start popping to view. But I'm going to go back to this radar now and look kind of where this spin is. So we're going to be looking kind of right at this 151 line, or excuse me, 51 line, right there just to the west of Padlock and Pine Mount. There's 129 and here's 51. The area of concern is going to be right there just south of 51, moving to the east. So getting a closer look at some of these street roads. County Road 252, 142nd Street, 129th Road, 138th Street, 142nd Road. Here's Padlock, 113th Road, 120th Street, State Road 51. All those areas in the path of that potential rotation that we're watching right there south of 51. A couple of trouble spots are still popping up though. We're going to keep a close eye on those along this line that's bowing out right here. It's kind of bowing out through these areas. So this is the area of concern right here though, that we're still watching for. But as you can see, I mean, ahead of that area of concern, look at how high these wind gusts are. If we kind of go here, 81 miles per hour, 77, 78. I mean, that's going to be a high velocity scan for us, and that's going to be a gusty wind, as you can tell by those pictures we were just seeing out of Live Oak. So that's where we're going to be focusing our attention on over the next couple of minutes, and as the system continues to push off to the northeast. Here's the Suwannee County line right here, just kind of riding the White Springs Camp Stills line. So that area just out, or just to the west, of White Springs and Camp Stills. So this kind of goes into central Suwannee County and then eastern Suwannee County here, as this continues to be an area of concern just to the south of 51. That's what we're going to be watching for, some potential spin. But again, this area right here is where we're watching, this bowed area of the storm system. If there is any kind of potential for a tornado, which there is, I mean, if there is a tornado, then you won't be able to see it. It will be rain wrapped. So that's going to be an important thing to keep your eye out for. I mean, just don't go out and try to look for that storm. So here is the area of spin. That's going to be right there at 142nd Street, 129th Road, 138th Street, all those areas under that potential area of spin. I just got a recent update here. Let's see what we have. Okay, so that severe thunderstorm warning continues for Lafayette County, Dixie County, and Taylor County. I do want to put back up some of those severe thunderstorm warnings as well, because I think that's going to be important to look at here. Because again, like I said, look at the embedded line of storms that still sits right across the southeast. I mean, now out of Perry and more into Mayo and Lafayette County, so South Lafayette County. That storm system right here in Live Oak just moved out of Lafayette County now into Suwannee County, but that severe thunderstorm warning still includes Suwannee County. Jasper is included in that. So we're still watching this area right here of potential spin is along that line of severe storms. So that's where the biggest concern for ongoing wind damages is going to be, from basically Jasper down to Mayo now. Perry is more out of the clear. Madison, you're out of the clear now as those storms continue to the east. But Mayo kind of right in the thick of it. Live Oak now getting some rain. Actually, if we can go back to that the Suwannee County airport cam, it's just to the west of Live Oak. This is what it's looking like now as that storm approaches. We'll get that up here for a second. There we go. There's Suwannee County. So heavy rain. That wind obviously blowing that camera around a bit. We're still seeing, that gusty wind there. That's going to be we could see up to, 60-mile-per-hour gusts in that area just because of this storm that's moving through. So that's what we're dealing with right now out of Live Oak. No kind of signature there at the Suwannee County Airport for any tornadic activity. Keeping a close eye though, because these storms can spin up very quickly. And then kind of moving back into the radar now. I'll come back on screen after getting a little bit of water here. There is that rotation that we're just talking about popping up now on our Titan radar velocity. So there's the area of rotation right where we were just talking about. I'm going to take that off because I can zoom in a little bit better and help you see. So that area just to the west of Padlock and Live Oak, that's still splitting the difference there where we expect that area of rotation to be occurring. And we just broadened out that tornado warning a bit because it's kind of touching the northeastern side of that warning. So yeah, the storm has been kind of bouncing around a little bit over the last half hour or so as it moves closer to that 90 corridor. Sorry, I'm just going to look really quick here at this. So now this is extended until 8 a.m. So right here near Padlock, that's where we're experiencing a little bit of rotation within that storm. Again, this is going to be rain wrapped, so we're not going to be able to see any kind of a tornadic activity if it does occur. So please do not go out. Please take shelter now. This is going to be the area right around there, just basically about to jump over 129, where that tornado could be occurring. So the biggest impact here is going to be the high wind gust, whether it's from tornadic activity or from straight line winds. And now that does include parts of Lafayette County. Oh, there's another tornado warning. So let me zoom out here. We've got two different tornado warnings now we're taking a look at. So I'm going to come back on screen here for a second. Sorry about that. So what we have across places like Mayo, again, is this spin that we are seeing as these storms kind of enter the southeast side of the Big Bend. So first, let's just reset now that a new tornado warning has been issued. If you live in Suwannee County near Live Oak, there is a tornado warning in your area, not just Live Oak, but for a lot of Suwannee County, actually redirecting that a little bit as that area of the storm was actually kind of concerning as it kind of jumped around across that 51 line. Now we have a new tornado warning for southwestern Lafayette County and the Big Bend, and that's until 8:15. This is just 12 miles southwest of Mayo, moving at 50 miles per hour, and there's indicated rotation from radar. So let's go ahead and look at this. I've got to find my clicker. I've got a bunch of papers in my hands, but this is where these two areas of concern are. So first of all, we were talking about Live Oak. I do want to go ahead and do a little analysis on this system just to the southwest of Mayo. It looks like this area of concern is going to be right back here, just to the northwest of Cook's Hammock. So if we go to the radar here, this area just to the northwest of Cook's Hammock, and this is, I believe that's still 51 there we go, yep. So that's still 51. So basically everything jumping over that 51 line now is going to be where we find the highest wind and that potential for that spin. So here's Cook's Hammock, here's San Pedro Junction, there's Mayo. Here's the area of concern. Again, rain wrapped, not going to be able to see a tornado if it does occur. So please do not try to go out and find it. We do have some rotation possibly occurring closer to these areas, just to the there we go, to just update with that. To the southwest of San Pedro Junction. So I do want to go over some roadways ahead of that storm that need to take shelter now. So that's going to be South Mayo Drive. Again, that's that State Highway 51 that kind of rides up here to San Pedro Junction. We also have some of these areas, County Road 251. You might just want to go ahead and take shelter now because there's going to be high wind gusts no matter what with this, whether you're in the path of that tornado or not. Long Trestle Road as well. And then down here, Henry Land Bond Road, there's Cook's Hammock, and then there's that 51, and then that County Road, Southeast County Road 357. All of these places, please take cover immediately. That storm is just off to our west. A potential for rotation is there. We've already seen the potential for rotation within this line of storms today, and we knew as it got into the southeast side of the Big Bend that the potential for high wind was already there, and then within that line of high wind and the storms, the potential for rotation was there. So here's a broad overview of what's going on right now. 2 tornado warnings separate for Suwannee County. I do want to go ahead and take a closer look at that Suwannee County line. I got to leave my hand down there. A Suwannee County line where we do have some rotation potentially moving up just to the south of Live Oak. That's Padlock area, Houston, Live Oak, kind of jumping over this line in the next few minutes of that latest scan. This system is moving at about 45, 50 miles per hour to the northeast. So 104th Street, 714th Road, and then 86th Street, 91st Road, and 97th. Those are all areas, and of course Live Oak. If you live in the city of Live Oak, please take shelter now. And that does include this road out of Live Oak over into Houston. So kind of splitting the difference between the two cities there over some what would be considered a pretty residential area for Suwannee County. That Live Oak area, obviously a major thoroughfare as well. There's 90 right here that runs through it. And then I-10 is just to the north of that. So that Suwannee County does include parts of the I-10. It is included in that tornado warned area. There's Padlock as well. So we do have this line of storms that's still pushing through that could produce some of that rotation. Ahead of that, though, it's already raining in Houston as well. But it's kind of behind that line, that initial line of that push of wind that we do still see some potential for rotation. So that's a look at our Live Oak camera there. Not seeing anything too concerning as far as debris or anything goes. The potential for debris is indicated by radar. So here's that spin just to the west of Padlock here. It's kind of moving to the northeast, a little bit south and to the east of Live Oak here, and then to the north of Houston. So kind of splitting the difference between all three of those cities. A lot closer to Padlock being more impacted there than the rest of those two. But there's 90 and then I-10, big parts there. There's 129 as well. But if we go down 51, kind of backtracking down further south, this is Mayo, this is Lafayette County, where San Pedro Junction, Alton 27, all in the path of this storm that's just to the west of Cook's Hammock. So Cook's Hammock kind of in the path of this potential rotation here, where this tornado warned area was just updated. We kind of latest scan here as that storm moves to the east. So a little bit of rotation potentially just to the southwest of San Pedro. Again, here's 51. Here's Mayo. That storm is moving to the northeast. So Mayo, you could potentially be in the path of this storm as well. Obviously, a big intersection there is the Highway 27. 27 coming out of Perry down to Mayo and then down to the south. So that's going to be a major intersection there, that 51-27 corridor. So if you know anyone heading out on those roadways today or trying to beat the storm, please let them know. They are under a tornado warning, and they need to avoid doing that and take shelter immediately. Best place to take shelter is going to be in the bottom floor of a house. I know a lot of basements in Florida don't, or a lot of houses in Florida don't have basements. So the lowest floor of the house possible, in an interior room, so a wall not facing the exterior, and then also, a good idea not to have those windows in those rooms. So places like closets or bathrooms are probably your best bet to take shelter in as this potentially tornadic thunderstorm moves through. So here's the latest scan as of just a few minutes ago between that 51 corridor of Mayo and Cook's Hammock. It looks a little bit nicer for us, that latest scan, but it's still going to be concerning as, these lines of storms. I will say it's not going to be a very long track tornado with a high threat of very high winds, but they're going to be very fast rotations. They're going to happen quickly. A brief tornado cannot be ruled out. So that's why you just want to be on top of it. If a tornado warned cell is on top of your area, that's going to be happening quickly. It's not going to be tracking over a long period of time. But those storms that have historically been capable of producing enough of a couplet, enough of that twist in the atmosphere for these tornado warnings to be issued, then you probably want to take that pretty seriously, because this line of storms has been capable producing that twist, as you know, seen just by the latest update there from the National Weather Service of issuing this tornado warning for parts of now Mayo, and that's going to be Lafayette County. So pushing out here, here are two thunderstorm warnings, or excuse me, a thunderstorm warning and then two tornado warnings. It looks like all the other severe thunderstorm warnings have been expired, but I do kind of want to look at this line here with you and see, you know, what's going on, because yes, this Houston area going to be in the path of this storm as the next scan. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that storm system kind of push over Houston, and then that high wind continue over Houston into parts of that. That's going to be the I-10 corridor, or that's the I-10 corridor there. The 90 corridor goes through Live Oak and then Houston and then Welborn, and that I-10 corridor just to the north of that, kind of paralleling it as it moves across the northern tip of Live Oak. So here is the area of concern of rotation in this storm, and that's going to be continued to push to the northeast. But you can see here from our velocity scan, I mean, you see these high returns here. That is a good indicator of some high wind gusts. Those winds are going to be kicking over the next couple of minutes as the storm continues to progress to the east as the storms move to the northeast, if that makes sense. The line, it pushes to the east, and then those thunderstorms move in a northeast movement. So you can see all these high returns here down into Pine Mount, McAlpin, and then over into the 51 corridor, Cook's Hammock, San Pedro Junction, Midway, Mayo, probably all feeling the wind gusts this afternoon now, up to 60 miles per hour outside of that tornado warned area. Inside the tornado warned area, we can see even higher wind gusts around these areas where some rotation has been looked at over the last couple of minutes or so. So here are those areas of concern. That 51 corridor that we were talking about, seems like these storms are just kind of popping up over the 51 corridor. This is where the rotation is occurring in both of these storms. Here's that 51 corridor, San Pedro Junction, kind of in the path of that, and then eventually Mayo as it moves to the northeast. But here are some roadways again that we've been going over. That State Road 51, an important one there that runs through Mayo, and then up through Live Oak, West Main Street in Mayo, Northeast County Road 400. A lot of these areas are right there in the path of that potential rotation. And if not, then let me say like County Road 251, or over here as we head to the northeast, thinking this last update here, those are going to be under, you know, the path of some serious winds. So some gusty winds still under that severe thunderstorm warning, up to 60 miles per hour. So we still have that signature of some tighter rotation kind of moving up that 51 corridor there. And here's that line of storms we've been talking about. So here is where some heavy rain is falling. Again, if any kind of spin is detected, it's going to be under some very heavy rain. I could expect probably some small hail out of this storm as well. Just kind of looking at the return here. Here's 51 up to Mayo. And then we have, so that's kind of the area of concern here just to the northeast of Cook's Hammock. And then we still have the storm in Swanee County that's still moving through. And there's that 75 corridor. So once it moves over 75, that is out of our area. But we're still going to be watching this storm. I mean, heavy rain right now in Live Oak, Houston as well. And a little bit more of that signature through now, okay, just jumping over Houston there. And then pushing into that I-10 corridor. So I-10 definitely feeling the wind right now. I mean, up to 60 mile per hour plus gusts, heavy rain on top of that, still falling as the storm continues to the northeast. It looks like that tornado warning was just bunched up a little bit more. So you can see there that line that's continuing to move to the northeast, which will eventually move out of our area and over that 75 corridor. But until then, we still have ongoing tornadic activity for both of these areas that we're going to be on air for until they expire. Both of those are going to be in the southeast side of the Big Bend, again along this line of storms that's been producing heavy rain for parts of the Big Bend counties early this morning, and then we started seeing that enter a favorable atmosphere for some severe thunderstorms. We saw that over in Madison County and Taylor County, and now we're seeing a little bit more of that spin potential out of those storms that are now moving over places like I-10 over into 75, kind of that I-10, 75, very close interchange there, just to the northeast of Live Oak. And then there's Mayo there with the latest potential for some spin. So let's go back to our southernmost warning now. Here's San Pedro Junction. Here's that area where we could be seeing a little bit more of that spin just to the north, or right around 51, I'd say is a good place to put that. So right around the northeast side of Cook's Hammock, south side of San Pedro Junction, and then kind of splitting the difference between Midway, Mayo, and Peterson as it moves through. This is Lafayette County, and that's 27, a major roadway that runs through Lafayette County. And then, of course, that 51 corridor, we've been saying that a lot this morning, just because both of those storms have jumped over 51, or are riding that 51 line, actually, here in Lafayette County. So that storm system is going to continue pushing to the northeast. Again, Mayo, I'd say in a few minutes from now, you're going to be seeing some gusty wind if you're not already, and then the potential for that storm as it jumps over you to have some rotation. So I do want to go as well and kind of look at the speed of the storm, kind of give you some closer ideas of where some of the major cities are within that spin area, and kind of give you we'll give you more of an exact timing for Mayo based on what we're seeing with these storm speeds here. So that one in Suwannee County is moving at 45 miles per hour. So let's go look at this one right here. This is just easier to do on the computer. It's a little bit more accurate. So here's Suwannee County. Here's that area of concern with rotation. We're gonna go here. And then go out 45 miles. Here we go. So about right there. So here are some areas within the path of that rotation. There's Poucher's Corner, Fassel, Purvis Still, Benton, and Edith. So all those areas kind of in the path of this system that here's that rotation right here, just kind of pushing over Houston now, and then in the Edith about 8:43. Right now, just to give you an idea, it is 7:59. So Edith, the furthest away point. There's Benton there in the top northeast corner of the screen. That's got 8:24, and then right here is the closest at Poucher's Corner at 8:04. So we do have that system kind of continuing to push through and impact some of these cities. And that does include 72nd Street, County Road 137, 82nd Tier, and then 53rd Road. So those are the areas here. And again, it's just easier to do on the computer. So thank you for allowing me to do that. With a little more patience here. It's a lot more accurate for you. Obviously, that severe thunderstorm warning also just now issued for areas around that tornado warning. That does include Jasper, Branford, right of our area there, into Lake City, so kind of just to our east, but that does include parts of Hamilton County, of Suwannee County, and then over into Columbia, which is just out of our area. So something we're going to keep an eye on here as this system continues pushing off into Jasper. And that tornado warning was just expired, so we did have too much broad rotation there. But again, Live Oak, Padlock, Wellborn, White Springs, and then eventually over and out of our area is where that storm is. Now we still have an ongoing tornado warning here, Cook's Hammock, San Pedro. We still have some potential spin. It looks like it's actually getting a little bit tighter there just to the south of Mayo. That's 51, San Pedro, and then here's Midway and Alton. So I do want to go ahead and I believe this storm is moving at, just want to get it accurate here. This one moving at 45 miles per hour as well. So let's kind of zoom out here and get you a better idea of where this is going to go. So here are some of those roadways, or cities, in the path of this system. Obviously, Houston was just in the area of the last storm, so we'll be watching this as it heads closer to that 27 line. But places in the immediate path like Midway, Mayo, and Alton are right around 8:05. So about four minutes from now, that storm is going to be on top of you. So that's why you want to go ahead and take cover now. In about 5 minutes, it'll be on the very edge of that tornado warned area. So that's going to be right into Suwannee County there, out of this Lafayette County line. So that's going to be right across 27, and then here is the line into Suwannee County is right where that warning extends to. But here is the area of concern just to the east of San Pedro Junction. We still have some velocity scans there showing high wind values out ahead of that, and then some lower wind values behind that. So that couplet there, just tight enough right here is where the area of concern is for a tornado warning to be issued. So we are going to look at some of those pathways and some of those roadways now as well, in the line of this this rotation. So Southeast County Road 340, Southeast Shaw Road. This is Worth, and then Midway is right here. South County Road 405. Again, this is all in Lafayette County, heading toward 27. It's kind of right up here, just to the south of Mayo. No overly concerning areas of coefficient correlation. That's where if debris is lofted into the air, it'd be found here, but it's not overly concerning there. But this area does have a little bit of rotation still indicated now, jumping over 51, heading toward 27. Those are two major areas of travel between basically the southeast side of the Big Bend and then North Florida over into the Panhandle. So this is where we're still keeping an eye on now. This 27 corridor just to the southwest of Mayo. This is Lafayette County again, all this along the line of thunderstorms that have been pushing through over the last several hours, bringing widespread rain and now heavy rain and tornadic activity. And again, we still do have flash flood warnings in effect here. I just took them off just to ease your ability to see where exactly we're talking about severe weather with. But those flash flooding warnings are obviously just as dangerous. Flash flooding ongoing with this line of storms. It's been active, since overnight hours through Tallahassee and now across the southeast side of the Big Bend. But giving you a big picture here, here's that line of storms, two broad areas of severe thunderstorm warnings where gusts with these storms can get up to 60 miles per hour. Within that line of storms, as it pushed over into closer to that 75 I-10 exchange, where it is now, we did expect more of that higher wind because we just have some very high upper level wind kind of fueling those storms. We also have enough rotation in the atmosphere, among other things, to prompt some tornadic concerns, and that's why we still have this warning here of a tornado warning just to the west of that Suwannee County line. Here's Lafayette County, here's Mayo. That's where the latest concern of this tornado is still occurring. So we still have that tornado warning ongoing. Again, this area of rotation potentially jumping over places like 27. There's 27 there over the next couple of minutes. Again, Alton, it's right at 8:04, and like we said, at 8:04 it'd be arriving at your area. So right on cue, that storm is pushing over into your area, but that's going to be where that area of concern for rotation is. Now, the good news is, these are not going to be potentially tracking long, very strong tornadoes, but what the problem is also is that they're not going to be long tracking sustained tornadoes. You can track those as they move across, and with these, it's going to be the line of storms that kind of just pops where you see that velocity scan very quickly. A tornado warning is issued, and by that point, it's still trucking along, and you still see these very quick signatures of spin. And so those signatures, those couplets, are going to be enough for a tornado warning to be issued. But it's just a good idea, if you're in the path of this line of storms, especially within those severe thunderstorm warnings, to make sure that you are prepared for a tornado warning, because there are enough ingredients in the atmosphere for that tornado activity to be felt. I mean, we had 2 tornado warnings already as this storm passed over some of those areas of concern where that atmosphere had, enough of that spin to prompt some of that's tighter rotation. Now, keep in mind, bigger storms and very strong storms, especially cells, have a bit of rotation as they grow and get bigger. But these velocity scans, where those tight couplets are, that's not broad rotation upward. That's typically a tightening within the storm, and that's where we have those tornado concerns. And you can kind of see, along this line, there are a few little potential spots for concern. And, in general, moving over 27 now, kind of just between Alton and Midway, that's where that storm is going to track to the north and east over the next couple of minutes. And again, we're not going to leave you hanging. We're going to keep it, we're going to be on air until this tornado warning expires or moves out of our area. So it's kind of on the eastern cusp of that tornado warned area now, which actually holds the line between Lafayette County and Suwannee County. So we've already seen a lot of activity in this same area early this morning. Matter of fact, that tornado warning that was issued for Live Oak a bit earlier, that same kind of line almost around 51, kind of jumped over 51 a little bit further north, but jumped over 51 and then took that northeast path between Padlock and Live Oak. Now that's expired, and this severe thunderstorm warning is issued here. And so within that severe thunderstorm warning, along this line of storms, some very gusty wind up to 60 plus miles per hour is expected. That's why this is such a broad severe weather, severe thunderstorm polygon, because you want to give a broad area enough time to get settled, to get safe, because the potential for some quick spin up tornadoes is still within these storms. We're not done with the tornado threat just yet. Not saying there's one now, but when there is one and a tornado warning is issued, again, very quick spin up storm, you want to be prepared and know where your safe spot is. So going back here to Midway and Mayo, this is Lafayette County. This is the Suwannee County line. Into Suwannee County, that's Lauraville, and then McAlpin, that's 27 here and 51 here. 51 has been impacted by two different systems now, and with the latest scan here, we're going to show heading into that northeast corner of Lafayette County, right over that 27 line now. So now it's jumped over 51, now 27, heading out to the northeast very quickly here, and then kind of riding along that 27 line, we're going to still see places that are more residential, like places like Alton and Midway, and there's Mayo up there, impacted potentially by this rotation. There's Northeast Sage Road in the path of that storm as well, Worth Calhoun Road as well, and there's, again, 27, the major thoroughfare, and Hewitt Land Road. So all those areas, if you know someone who lives on them or you live on them yourself, please take shelter now. That tornado warning is still in effect for your area as it continues to the northeast. A couple little spots there, troublesome along that line of storms, which has been, again, producing rain, heavy rain all morning long, and now at least severe winds, and then potential for a tornado right across that 27 corridor. You can see some of these returns lighter green here. That's a good indicator of some outflow wind, so some gusty wind is still, capable of being produced, especially within those severe thunderstorm warned areas. Up to 60 mile per hour winds are possible within those severe thunderstorm areas. So this area right there, still kind of seeing some rotation just back as well, kind of through this area. So just kind of south of that 27 corridor as it splits Midway and Mayo. So there is a lot of little spots here within the storm system that could potentially be a little bit more concerning with the rest of this line as well. But we'll continue to monitor that for you as it pushes just to the southeast of Mayo. The latest scan here shows us, let's take a look. Here we go. There's that rotation kind of pushing right into Suwannee County now, out of Lafayette County. So we're going to be continuing to watch that and see if that's either an extended warning or if that's going to be expired or let to expire. But that does include, it has included places like Mayo, Midway, 27, McAlpin, 129, just to the north of O'Brien, and there's 51 again, all kind of leading into Live Oak, kind of that major hub there, just to the south of that I-10 corridor, which was impacted just a few minutes ago by that tornado warning. So it is 8:10 a.m. now. We've been tracking flash flood warnings since, Cass was here. I came in at 2, so been tracking flash flood warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings even before that. And then now the potential for not only flash flooding, but also severe weather exists as we head into the southeast side of the Big Bend, and then enough of that rotation possible for some tornadic activity. So now it's 8:11 a.m. Still watching this line of storms that's capable of producing a tornado. That's now moving through Lafayette County, kind of pushing up to the northeast. Most of this motion is to the northeast with the storm system. Now, the storm system itself is moving to the east, but the storms are riding on a northeast line. Really what comes into play here is going to be the rain issue as well. So just like any of these storms over the last couple of hours, even into the central parts of the Big Bend, that heavy rain was training across our area and producing some flooding concerns. And that's going to be ongoing here. I don't have those up again because just want to give you a better idea. There's a lot of different colors and a lot of flashing going on with all those flash flood warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings and now tornado warning, which we're going to stay on air for. But there's a lot going on with those flash flood warnings, but I do want to keep you in check that there are still flash flooding concerns for these same areas under this heavy rain in Lafayette County and Suwannee County. So heavy rain continues to push down through Lake City. That's just out of our area. That's the I-10 corridor. Still watching this concern for some rotation just to it looks like the south and really south of Mayo, southeast of Mayo, into Midway, over to Woodway, and that's that 27 corridor, excuse me. Some little spots there, a little bit more concerning. We still have, a lot of high wind with this system as well. We're going to continue to look at a little bit more of those velocity scans, which show, right through Midway, San Pedro Junction, that's that high wind that's jetting out. And then outside that tornado warned area, there's McAlpin, and there's that high wind as well. So this tornado warning is going to go until 8:15. It's now 8:12. So I expect if we don't get another warning update, this is going to be allowed to expire. But again, even if this does expire, I do want to stress that this line of storms is entering an area where some spin is possible, even as it heads into Lafayette County and then still pushes out of Suwannee County. So it's going to be important to know where your safe place is. Maybe don't take those roadways just yet if you are in the path of these storms, or if it's heading your way over the next few minutes. Most of these storms will be out of our area by about 11 a.m. So that's the good news there. That stronger storm system will be pushing to the southeast. So not a lot of storms left behind that. I mean, geez, we look at Tallahassee now. We see a lot more of those clear conditions as far as rain goes, at least for the weekend. It's actually going to be nice and calm, if you can believe it, after a very active day today. But places like Live Oak, Branford, Cross City is just in Dixie County, so out of our area. So a lot of this threat out of Taylor County has moved to the south, but still Lafayette County, you have a ways to go, especially into Branford and then that Suwannee County line. To see the storm activity continue to push to the east. Now, yes, these storms are moving northeast, but as the storm system moves to the southeast, that's where we're going to find the potential for some more storm activity with some gusty wind, heavy rain, and then a possible tornado. Now, Live Oak is one of our major thoroughfares there, just south of I-10 and then into just north of Lake City on 75. Those storms are going to be pushing out shortly here, and that's kind of the last little area of us. And that's going to be out of Suwannee County. But again, Suwannee County, southern Suwannee County, you still have some storms to go, just like O'Brien, Beachville, over into, again, Branford, and then into Winfield. You're still getting some rain this morning. So again, 8:14, if this is not extended, it will be expired at 8:15. We still have that tornado warning in effect for Lafayette County as it pushes over that 27 corridor kind of into Suwannee County now. So we're just going to, again, keep you up to date until this warning expires. I don't want to lead you astray here as that system continues to produce at least gusty winds. So severe thunderstorm warnings have been in effect for a lot of these counties over the last, I'd say, hour or so, kind of losing track of time here. But, through the push of the southeast movement of this system, we're still going to find that the potential for rotation does exist. So don't let your guard down. Again, these have been very quick within basically scan to scan of these tight rotations, and those tornadoes can form very quickly. So as we continue to see this system move off to the northeast, it looks like most of that rain right here is going to be heavy around that area of push of velocity scans that could see gusts up to 60 miles per hour at times. So some very high wind there, and it looks like our last tornado warning just expired at 8:15. So I'm going to zoom out here, give you a broad look, but again, we'll be back on air if any kind of other tornado warning does exist. Otherwise, please be safe out there. There's still severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings ongoing, and hopefully you stay safe as these storms move through.